I'm Kev Toonen and I'm the co-founder and director of Strength Elite in Sydney. I also work out of 98 Riley Street where I'm the programming director there as well. I was in the military for 18 years and in my time I work within the special operations community. I also run a high performance program out of one of the tier 1 units that we have here in Australia. Alyssa's programming entails basic fundamentals that every person needs. So we want her to get stronger, we want to increase her durability in her ligaments, her tendons, muscle and the bone density, and we need to make sure she's structurally and robust. The way I've gotten around that is to increase not only her physical strength but also the way she utilises her muscles. And when you look at the type of training that she needs to be doing to climb the North Face, we need her to be strong, agile, fast, but we need to have that fast speed, acceleration, deceleration work in reserve if we need it. What we need more than anything else is that we need her to be as strong as possible so that she's not working at her peak or at her maximum ability all through the day. We don't want her to be that strong that the walking, that the climbing doesn't take a massive toll on her body, so she's got enough reserve when she needs it, if she needs it. And Alyssa's training is, everything has, the principles of training are the same for everyone. Biological laws of training are the same for everyone. But what I need to do is look at the task and reverse engineer from the task. I need to also look at the individual, their background of their training. Mindset is one of the biggest things. So with Alyssa, I don't have to worry about that too much. It's more for me to slow her down than it is for the need to speed it up. I also know she's detail orientated, so I can give her what she needs to do and I know she'll do it. That for me is, her coachability makes this so much easier for me than it does with a lot of people. In terms of reverse engineering, I need to look at the task, understand the task, and that's what we did when we started, was we looked at the days of training. So there's no point getting her to be ready for a nebulous task that doesn't exist or the unknowable, because we know exactly what we need to do. Her training is different in a way that she's done it before, but she's done it in a way, I guess, that she was almost unprepared in a sense of like her energy systems. So we're looking at increasing her overall strength all the time. I mean, you've never ever run into a person, and if you do, there's something wrong with them, that has ever been too strong for a task. You can never be too strong. Strength is never a weakness. When you understand the way the body works and the biomechanics of the body, is that the decrease of injury due to strength, that's our number one goal, is that we need to get her to the start of day one. We also need to get her body to want to work together. So that's why we do a lot of sprinting, acceleration work, and that also increases the two energy systems that we're focusing on. So the ATP system and also anaerobic system. Her aerobic system, it's got a wonderful base already. So if you've climbed Everest by 19, you've ticked a lot of boxes there already. And if you've done Kokoda by 8 years old, then I know that your base is strong. What I also did was test her at the start when we first met, and I looked at what I needed to do, and we did that via some ski erg testing, and we looked at max heart rate, we looked at the repeatability of her efforts, and through that I got a good idea of where her strengths and weaknesses were, and also her numbers of her strength, which were low for someone doing this task. So the goal was to increase her strength to make everything else easy. I think overtraining is a myth for a lot of people, but it's definitely not a myth for Alyssa. So the average person, there's 3 stages of training. There's the novice, intermediate, and then the advanced. Most people will never leave the novice to intermediate stage, because to leave the novice stage of training, and novice isn't bad. Novice is where you make all your gains, where you increase strength rapidly when your body is ready to adapt and it keeps getting stronger and bigger and stronger and faster. A novice athlete is someone who can train uninterrupted for 4 days a week, no injuries, for about 3 to 6 months. And then an intermediate athlete is someone that has adapted to that stage and then needs to get a little bit stronger, so we look at different stimuluses. She sits definitely into the intermediate to advanced level, but the task is not anything but advanced. but then we need to make sure that her body physically is prepared for that. In terms of tapering for something like this, we're lucky that she has a lot of travel involved. So because she's an intermediate to advanced athlete, the tapering will depend on the load that we've placed on her body 4 to 8 weeks prior. So we're looking at trying to maximise that effort. We're trying to load her body up to a point where she is forced to adapt, and we want a little bit of overreaching, overtraining, because then I know then she'll come back stronger. So that's the point of the last few weeks, is that I really want to push her physically. So when she's going through the long transits, when she's taking time to acclimatise and there's not a lot of time for her to actually train, is that what we're doing at the same time is we're helping her adapt and get stronger. A lot of mistakes that are made where people don't understand that the body will let you know when it's time to relax, and it will let you know when it needs to regenerate, when it needs to sleep, when it needs to dial down. Lots of people miss those signs. So poor sleep, poor appetite, things like that, they're number ones. If you sleep and eat correctly, then your training done properly will never be hampered. You also need to understand that if you're in the novice stage, your recovery can be from 24 to 72 hours from big sessions, so you can adapt a whole lot quicker. Once you've punched through that stage, for an intermediate athlete, it may take them 72 hours up to 14 days to recover from a certain session. So the answer is it depends. And lots of people don't take into account that they're not an elite athlete or they're not an advanced athlete, and if they waste their effort in the novice stage, where if you build a good foundation, your peak of potential is a lot higher. So you can imagine a base of a triangle or a pyramid. If you build a big, strong base of strength and conditioning and aerobic capacity, then your peak is a lot higher. But if I make that base too small and I waste that time or don't spend enough time building that base, my triangle is never going to be that big. And that's where tapering and overtraining, I guess the answer is it depends. But for someone who hasn't spent 6 months training hard and properly, then yeah, you're always going to end up in the low range.